a little quote here. I won't tell you who it's from, but you can guess. It says, "You were born with potential." I want you to embody this, okay? Don't just listen here. I want you to listen here, everywhere. You were born with potential. You were born with goodness and trust. You were born with ideals and dreams. You were born with greatness. You were born with wings. You're not meant for crawling, so don't. You have wings. Learn to use them and fly. Now, the flight we're talking about is the flight of consciousness, because we know we have this amazing power. Do you know the creative gifts of God, the creative intelligence of God, the creative imagination is there for us in all of its magnificence, always, every moment of our life? The same power which Matthew Fox would call the creative source, the all-loving, the life-giving source of God has created everything. So we are both blessed and a blessing. That source, that creative, all-powerful source, is the back of everything. It doesn't come to some people in a limited edition. It comes to everybody the same, but we decide how we're going to use it. And we express that beautiful power through our imagination and our creative thought and mind. So how we use our creativity is through the thoughts we hold and then the actions we take in alignment with those thoughts. There's an irresistible urge right here. We might call it the divine spark. I don't know what you call it, but it's that place in us that can't resist, but to be creative, to grow and expand. Now, we do have thoughts and limitations because we have a human ego and a human will that can hold us down, but that creative spark is always there. Joseph Campbell said, "The greatest gift of a lifetime, the greatest gift of a lifetime is to be who you are." Wow. We're all created so perfectly. We're all created that way, not some of us. But we have to learn how to use that creative ability to unfold our consciousness. We're kind of born folded up. You know those little wings that Gretchen was singing about? They're kind of folded up in the beginning when we're just born. But we're born to grow and evolve. And just like that seed of greatness, that seed of potentiality, that irresistible urge in us, a seed, if you think about it, has everything it needs right now. It has every single thing it needs to grow and become. God, life, goodness has poured itself in its completeness into us. We get to decide what we're going to do with it. So if we feel limited right now, it's because of limitations we've placed on ourselves. Now, I'm not saying that life is easy, because it's not supposed to be that way. But we've got everything we need. We're designed to handle the situations. We live in a self-organizing universe, which means every difficult problem, or every single problem, because in the mind of God, there's no difficulty or no easy, no hard or light or whatever. That's just all is. So every problem holds its solution. Do you believe that?
Yes.
Well, the front row does. So just kind of spread your belief back to the back rows. You know, that's why you guys sit up closer. I get it. Because you believe it, you know. But yes, we have the answers right now. But just like a seed, if it's not put in the proper soil or given the proper conditions, what doesn't it do? It doesn't grow. The same with us. The fertile soil for us is our consciousness. And somewhere along the line, we get conditioned thinking. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Those old patterns that kind of keep us less than we're meant to be, kind of keep us back here when we're supposed to be out here. We get this conditioned thinking. The fertile soil is our belief system. I believe I can fly. Can you feel the power of it? How about I believe I'm small and limited? doesn't quite have the same energy that I believe I can fly. I know, and you know how we get creative? Why we get more powerful? By creating. That's how we get creative. How many of you have never made a mistake in your life? That's how we grow. The mistakes are how we grow and become and we create. So we need to, first of all, check ourselves for our limitations. It's what we put on ourselves. That fertile soil is that consciousness that's willing and knows we live in an evolutionary universe and we're here to grow and expand, and we have all the tools we need right now. We just have to learn and uncover them, and it happens by trial and error. This one works, this doesn't. We have to know that fertile soil. Some of us have planted this potential in the rocky place, that rocky soil of our mind. I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. I don't have enough. There isn't enough. You know, we need to start taking those rocks out, opening up, and giving some water, which means the fluidity of life. How many of you love to live in ambiguity? You know, it's not the most comfortable place to live, but when you think about it, creativity pushes us to the growing edge. And at the growing edge is where ambiguity lives. So we need to learn how to live in that place of ambiguity, to be in the flow. That sometimes things are going to be a little confusing and sometimes will be clear. It's part of the process of life. And then very, very important in this is to be in the sun, the light of spirit, to be in a community of people, to be a place where we can get fed by the sun, by the light of truth and wisdom. You know, I came down to the 3 C's of creativity that I think are pretty good. For me, anyway. So I'll share them. And if you like them, keep them. If you don't have to get rid of them. But the first C of really living a creative life is to be courageous. I don't know how many of you were raised with a little bit of guilt, a little bit of shame, a little bit of fear, you know, because we don't fit the norms of the way society or our parents or our educational system or whatever feels we should, so we start feeling less than. We have to have the courage to not only stand tall and realize our shame doesn't do us any good, our guilt doesn't do us or the world any good. We have to be able to stand above it and get some new thoughts about ourselves. And as far as fear is concerned, what do you think? Fear we have to learn to work with. We're not going to get rid of that. Fear's good a lot of times. But we need to learn to work with it. We can't let it have more power than we do. So we can say, hey, join us on the journey. I'm going to the growing edge. So courage. Number one, we've got a courage. And the second thing is curiosity. How many people get a little annoyed when somebody says, follow your passion? Like, what's my passion? Follow your bliss. What's my bliss? I mean, some of us know it right away. You know, we've got, oh, this is my passion, this is my bliss. But it's not always easy for everyone to find, especially when times are tough. Life can be difficult. We struggle. And when we're trying to move through that struggle, life can be difficult to find your bliss and find your passion. But I'll tell you what you can find. Curiosity. You can find curiosity in the struggle. You can say, okay, what's in this for me to know? How am I to grow? What am I to learn? You can be there and say, all right, what am I to do next? And be guided and led. Because life isn't always easy, right? It's not always that way because I'll tell you, when you can find inspiration in the struggle and in the pain, wow, that's when growth is like this. So I say courage, curiosity, and then of course, We have our human self, which we can either feel good or not good about, but we also have the divine mystery, the God self, that nature. We have to learn to collaborate. The two need to learn to work together. We have to co-create with Spirit because, inspiration comes from God, comes from infinite intelligence, creative imagination, whatever you want to call it. But that's where our artistic inspiration comes from. And I don't mean just the arty stuff, because some of us aren't really arty, but I mean scientific progress in business, relationship progress, anything that's moving forward in this evolutionary unfoldment is the creative process. And let me tell you right here, well, if you're alive, you're creative. So does that fit anybody here? Okay, good. So if you're alive, you're creative. And each and every one of us stand on 10,000 years of creative beings that have been decorators, artists, builders, fiddlers, drummers, problem solvers. We stand on those shoulders, and we've got to start acting our part. We have to start doing what we know we need to do, because as hard as it seems to be in this crazy world right now, where things just seem to be so polarized and so difficult, we've been created for this moment. We've been created right now for this moment. We have to find our greatness, our potential. And remember, in the mind of God, there is no difficult, hard. There is no little, small. It's all creative. Some of us are born to create here, and some are born to create here. It doesn't matter. It's all the process. We are here to find our greatness, but that's not enough. And I really, truly mean this, especially at this time when things seem so conflicting. We have to see it in others. We have to support other people in recognizing, claiming, and seeing their own greatness, their own goodness, their own creative expression. We have a responsibility to do that. Are you with me?
Yes.
It's not enough to do this alone anymore. We can't. We can't. We need community. We need connection more than ever. So I'm going to challenge you right now. We'll do a little meditation at the end, but I'm going to challenge you to get on your creative, to get to that creative edge and do something creative this week. And I don't care if it's doing the moonwalk to work, or if it's being weird, or it's doing something magnificent. It doesn't matter. We need to reshuffle our brain. Do you know what Ernest Holmes said? And he had a great quote, and this was, maybe 70, 80, 90 years ago, but he said, "Man developed an enlarged brain, an elaborate instrument that is capable of being a channel for creative thought." Now, many of us have lived thinking our right brain is creative and our left brain is logical, correct? But new research, the neuroscience, the research are showing us, when we're in a creative activity, our brain literally lights up. And the logical, organized mind, and the creative, spontaneous, imaginative, creative, spontaneous mind are working together to create something amazing. So they're saying that people that really hold all of their emotions, the good, bad, the ugly, the glorious, the whatever, but are open to all their emotional experience, are the most creative people, because they get their brains to work on all different levels. Isn't that exciting? Don't you like the thought that your brain lights up when you're creative? It's like a light bulb. I really like that. I thought, we need to be creative all the time to be in that process. So I'm going to here we go, this week, go out and do something creative, something to shuffle up your brain, to get it working on different levels. It doesn't have to be anything big, something little, whatever. But number one, claim that power that is there for everyone equally always, and open yourself. Let it pour through you. Be inspired by it. Whatever it calls you to do, be inspired. And then have the courage to work it. Because I'll tell you, in the creative process, we'll find joy, we'll find magic, we'll find pleasure, we'll find difficulty and failure and messiness. We'll find it all. But we've got to be willing to do it and chip away and keep practicing until we create something amazing. We are all the artists of our own life, and I'm going to ask you right now, this is probably one of the greatest inspirations of Creativity, wow. This is Michelangelo's Pietà. Pity, it's the Virgin Mary holding Jesus when he was taken down from the cross. And it was commissioned in, I think, about 14 something, 89 or something, I'm not sure, by a French cardinal, because he was at the Church of Rome and he wanted to be remembered long after he died. So he commissioned Michelangelo to do this sculpture, and he wanted it to be the Pietà. He commissioned him to do that for his funeral because he wanted to be remembered. And here's what he said to Michelangelo. He said, I want the most beautiful work of marble in Rome, one that no living artist could do better. And you know what Michelangelo said? Tell me.
Yes.
Thank you. He said yes. I mean, what else could he have said? He said yes. And he did it at the age of 22. He said yes. He didn't know any better then. And he sculpted that out of one piece of marble. Carrara marble, some famous marble from Italy, but he sculpted that. And it's really been deemed his greatest piece of work, even better than David or the Sistine Chapel. He created that. What happened is he was there watching, some people were around looking at that, and they were saying, oh, that's so beautiful. Who created it? Because he didn't sign his work. And somebody said, oh, our Gobbo from Milan created it. And Michelangelo was there going, I worked pretty hard on that thing. And he didn't think it was quite fair, so he broke in one night and he carved his name. And then he was very upset with his vanity. That's why none of his other work is signed. Because he had to go through that experience to learn, wow, it's there because it's my gift to the world. This is my gift to the world. So I'm going to invite us just for this minute to close our eyes in this moment. Just unravel yourself so you can completely be a channel for God's love, a channel for the creative expression of all that is good and right and true. And I'm just going to invite you in this moment to ignite that spark of creative essence within you, that spark that is uniquely yours. Ignite it so you feel that sense of being fully alive. You can feel the power of spirit, the collaborative power of the human self merging with the divine self and saying, oh, how great thou art. Feel it. Feel the deep urge, the deep desire to give the world the best you have. Knowing again that there is no size in the mind of God. Whatever we have to give that is our best is the best ever to give. That we stand on the shoulders of giants, of creators that have created so much, and we are here to rise up, to spread our wings, to claim the magnificence of that loving, life-giving energy we call God, and to let that goodness, that light, shine through us to a point where we don't just see beautiful pieces of art and say, oh, how great thou art, but we look at our life right now and say, how great thou art. I've stepped out onto that growing edge, and I'm willing to love more, to be more, to create more, to see more goodness. We are human, so what we do, we create beauty. We create life. We give and share love. So just imagine right now if you and I stepped up to the plate, to that growing edge, and we gave the world the best we can in our love, in our creativity, in our compassion, in our connection, in our acceptance of oneness, where we take down the walls of separation and we open to it all. Oh, my my dear, how great thou art.